Hey, what's going on, guys? This is a 2007 Focus SE, 4-cylinder, obviously, 2.0 liter. So, changing out the power steering pump here, and I noticed there was a lot of lack of videos on YouTube about this pump. I guess I just couldn't find anything, and I could have saved a lot of time if I had kind of known what I was getting into. So I have decided I'm going to post a little video here. Yeah, that's better. Of kind of a quick way to do this, save you some trips to the auto store. So obviously you're going to have to take your serpentine belt off there. You can see I already did this. I got kind of halfway through this and decided, you know what, I'm going to share this because this is going to save somebody some time. So if you don't want to use a serpentine belt kit, like this handle here, and you don't want to jack the car up and take the wheel off and all that stuff, you don't have to do that if you're comfortable and you got the arm strength. I think it was a 13 millimeter there wrench. See, I got it there, and I was able to do that with just some arm strength and let it rest there. So as long as your wrench doesn't slide off there, you won't have to worry about anything. It'll hold it in place, and your belt will, you'll be able to get the slack when you're ready to put that back on there. So you see I got the 13 resting back there on the tensioner pulley. I was just being lazy. I didn't want to take the wheel off and everything and all that junk. So I left that all in place, got the belt off there. The belt is off. I had to go get the pulley tool to get the pulley off. You will need this tool to save your pulley. I wasn't going to buy a new pulley. I mean, why, And if you try to use a tool to rip that off there, I'm going to tell you that's not going to happen, and you're probably going to mess your pulley up. So just go ahead, get this tool. It's $40 at AutoZone, to buy it or to rent it, but you get your money back when you return the tool, obviously. So I'm just going to keep this one, and I got the pulley off there. The reservoir sits on top like this, so you'll have something kind of little ugly looking thing like that. This reservoir comes off very easily when you take these bolts off. There's 4 10mm bolts. There's one here, there's one under here you can't really see, and then there's one tucked away back here that you can't get to until you get the pulley off. So you have to get the pulley off regardless. There's no way around that. And also, your high pressure line here is kind of a pain. It gets in the way of everything. So you'll have a hose that also comes off the reservoir. Obviously, that'll be an easy thing. You just take that off, get these 2 bolts off, and the reservoir will let go. You can get that out of the way. But you'll have a sensor there that goes in this line right there, and it just sticks in the way because it's so big. And this was a 14 millimeter. It has a 14 millimeter to get this off, real easy. And just make sure you pay attention to your gasket there. Don't want to lose that or anything. So you get all that stuff out of the way, and you kind of have something looking like this. And to get this high pressure line out of there, and you can see that last 10 millimeter bolt there, I keep that there because I was kind of playing with that. Because I can take that 10 millimeter out and pull this away while cranking that. It's a ratcheting. And I can get it free, but if you get it free before you loosen this bolt down here, you're going to have some trouble because it's on there pretty good. And nobody really knows the size of that, so I had to guess. And, of course, it was the one size I did not have, which was an 18. But instead of buying just an 18 size wrench, which I also went ahead and did because I just like adding to my tools, so I bought my 18 wrench here, but I also bought this one here. It's it's made for a flange, and it works perfectly. It's an 18 on one side and a 16 on the other, and it slips perfectly over the line and will go up there and give you the perfect grip, so you're not worried about breaking your hose there, so you don't have to go get another $60 hose. You can keep using your same old one, and that worked great. And it was like $8 for this flanged 18 with the side there. Now when you get it on, since it's upside down, it's a little confusing. It's easy to forget which way you need to turn it. And it's so tight on there, you can't just really guess at this. You got to do it right the first time. But you're going to be pushing up because it's backwards since it's underneath. So just something to think about. If you're sitting here at this phase, you're going to be like, well, which way do I turn it? You're going to turn it up to break it loose. So there's just something there. This coolant hose, I didn't have to really mess with. It didn't really bug me too much. But something that I did here is I just, push it out over there, and you got all your space in there. You can fit your tool in there so you can get it. So anyways, I'm going to finish taking this line off here. I just broke it loose. And I'm going to take that out and get this last bolt out and get this old pump out. Get the new one in and all that stuff. But if I had someone show me all this before I dug in here, I could have gotten my tools ready to go and already had it changed out. So that's why I'm making this, and I'll add on to the video as I progress and kind of show you. But I normally don't share little quick fixes like this, but when it's something kind of annoying, a common car like this Focus here, a lot of people have it. It's just going to do good to show people stuff like this, because pretty soon, more and more as time goes on, are going to need to be replaced, and this might help somebody save a lot of time. So go ahead and get your stuff. Get your stuff you might not think about at the time, like this to pull your pulley off, and this flanged 18, that you're going to need. So that's that. And you don't have to pull the tire off and everything and use that tensioner, rod or anything like that. If you really don't want to, you can skip that. If you don't mind sticking a 13 down there, and you got plenty of arm room, just enough to loosen it, give you some slack. So anyways, I'm going to get this old one out of here, get this new one going, and I'll update in a minute. Another little update here. I don't know if I mentioned this, but this last 10 millimeter, to make your life a little easier, make sure that you have, if it's easily available, a ratcheting 10. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that, but in case I didn't go into detail about that, I just kind of, because you don't have any space there when that high pressure line is in the way. You see that? So when you got that 10 ratcheting in there, see how long this bolt is too? You can ratchet that and slowly pull this pump out of there, and you can break it free. I've already broken the tension from the high pressure line, so now that it's free, I can adjust it like that and let it sit there, and I can break this free the rest of the way without trying to go around everything. So that's just something that I'm going to do to make my life a little easier, and if you got that, you can do that too. Okay, so another update here. I just got the pump out. See a little turd sitting over there. So, anyways, on this high pressure line here, I don't know if the camera will focus enough, but you see that little white there? See if it'll focus enough. Okay, well, I guess not. It wants to focus on the block more, but anyways, that's a little gasket there. There we go. There's a little gasket there, and your new pump should come with one inside of a little plastic baggie with the instructions that nobody ever reads. So, anyways, just make sure you check in there. It's a little white ring. You're going to need it to replace this one. Even if I wanted to reuse this one, there's no way. It's pretty beaten up. So just make sure you look for that, at the auto store before you leave. And when you get home, check very carefully before you just tear open that plastic bag, because it's very tiny and looks like it's easily destroyed. So just get that and remember to put that on there. Otherwise, you're going to have a leak, and it's going to, cause a tumor there from all the stress from forgetting that one little thing, So just something to remember. And I'm going to finish this and getting it going, and any other thing I can think of that I should tell you about, I'll put that in here. There's a little ring. I just got the old one off. I don't think my camera's going to do a good job with that focus there. But anyways, it's like that, a little white plastic ring. And just make sure to get this old junk off and get your new one on there before you start messing with that. Okay, see, there's the old pump. Here's the new one. Here's that little white ring I was telling you about you're going to need. Looks kind of like that. I'm going to Maybe I'll get up. See that little ring there? Just make sure you got that in there before you keep going. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. So here's the new pump. This was for just the pump is $60, but if you want it with the reservoir, it's $80, and that's after your core. So if you want the one with the reservoir, it's $100. Till you return that back, you get $21 back or whatever. You don't need the reservoir. Mine was actually okay. One here, but there's not a lot to it. It's just a little container. You got some gaskets there, whatever. But just in case, to save a little headache, I went ahead and I just bought the one with the reservoir. Get a new one in there because I didn't know if these were going to give out or if I was going to find surprises in there or something. So instead of what ifs, I just went ahead and got the one with the reservoir. If you're feeling kind of cheap about it, you can even get just the gasket repair kit for the pump itself, which is like $14. So you can take this, it tells you how to take this and change the gaskets and all that stuff. That's way too much for me, honestly. I'd rather spend the money and make it a real simple install. I mean, you're already doing the work yourself, right? So why not, So just that information there. You can get just the seal kit or whatever. You can get just the pump, or you can get the pump and reservoir. And to make it easy, I just did the whole thing. So just something there to think about. You can see this reservoir here. Like I said, those two bolts that hold it in, when you buy it, they just put zip ties to hold it. So literally just those two bolts hold it in, and then these two screws in the bottom. But that bottom left corner one there, like I said, the high pressure line gets in the way, so a ratcheting tin would be perfect for that. And then for these other ones, see how they're kind of seated in there kind of deep? I just used a wrench, with an extension, a little short extension, and a deep tin, and it was perfect for those. And so yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get this in there and hopefully get this over with pretty quick. Okay, so I just started getting the pump in here. Just a little keynote to remember. Get that bottom left screw in there first before you start screwing that high pressure line in. Otherwise, you're going to waste a lot of time. So just slip that in there, let it dangle around. Get that line screwing in there. Also make sure that little gasket that you did, put it on, and that you pushed it all the way to the base of that there, under the threads and everything. So basically, to recap, put your gasket on, make sure it's all the way down. Grab your pump, make sure this bolt's in, and then just start hand tightening that line in there. And you can see it's got some swivel, so I can adjust it and line it up and all that junk. So another thing I did notice, it probably doesn't make any much of a difference, but if you're wondering, this reservoir that came with mine, the new one, and the Ford one honestly feels better made. So other than that, they look pretty much identical, minus one key thing I saw. The Ford one does have double gaskets, whereas this aftermarket one just has one. Probably doesn't matter, but I'm really picky about little stuff like that, so maybe if I'd known that, I would have just stuck with the Ford one. You can also see here, the plastic, it's got one spot of support there, whereas the Ford one has several, the reinforced plastic there. So, I may still end up using the original. I'm having a hard time deciding because, this is new and I really want to use it, but, this one's just designed better. So maybe I'll just clean it up and throw it on there. I don't know yet. We'll see. Anyways, I'm going to get back to putting the pump in, just something to think about. Okay, little update here. So you can see I get the pump started here. I tighten that big line here that we put the gasket on by hand as much as I could, and then leaned it up against this and its bracketing spot here. Sorry about this camera work, it sucks. Alright, okay, like I was saying, so I put my ratcheting tin in there after I hand tightened that line here. So I hand tightened this one, lined it up. That's why we got the bolt in before we tighten this, because otherwise you're SOL. Got my ratcheting tin here, and I held this pump with my ratcheting tin on the bolt there, lined up, and since the bolt is fully extended, you know, it'll be way out here, and I just kept ratcheting until it caught the threads and just kind of worked it up in there. Tightened it down snug. That's how you want it. You want it snug, not super tight. It's 17 pounds, I believe, if you want to use a torque wrench or anything like that. I just get it snug. Anyways, and then after that one, I got the other bolt here on the bottom, on the right side, the bottom right, and I got that one snug. So I got the bottom left and the bottom right snug, and then after those two were in, I came and I tightened this one with the 18 millimeter flare wrench, and got this one nice and tight. Now when you're getting that one, this hose will get in the way again, just like when you were taking it off. So again, when I go to tighten that, I just set that out of the way up there. It should be fine. And then you got all this space down here to tighten that high pressure line there. And then when you're done, you can just set it back where it goes. And that's the update so far. The next two bolts involve the reservoir and all that stuff, so I may just put the pulley on next. I haven't decided. And definitely last thing you want to do is put that sensor in, because it's so bulky it gets in the way. And again, don't forget your gasket on there. Little update, what I decided to do next. I'm going to go with the new one, I guess. I mean, why not? I'll try it out. If anything, it's quick to replace it back. So I did put this one in next, this sensor. It's a 14 to tighten it. Just be gentle with it, okay, until it gets threaded in there, and, you know, don't snap it or anything. So get it snug. Make sure your gasket's on it. And then I went ahead and pulled this hose back up. I had it tucked down there, and went ahead and connected it to the reservoir, so, you know, I'm not finagling with it when it's all up there. So you will need your old cap from your old reservoir, and just get that ready to go, and then you can bolt this up with your two bolts there. And that's all it is, two bolts, you know, hold the reservoir up there and also bolt the pump into the block. This is a little broken on mine, unfortunately, but it doesn't do much. It just helps hold this wiring harness, but you got another one on this side of it. So these two, just the harness clips into it to kind of give it a, you know, a nice neat tuck. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and snug those two bolts in, and then I'm going to start working on this pulley. Okay, I got these two upper bolts snug in with this reservoir here. All right, just a little note here. The one on the left, I didn't need the extension for. I just needed the deep 10. And then the one on the right, I used the extension plus the deep 10. But you'll figure it out as you go along. Also, another thing is I noticed my reservoir was going in a little weird. And I had to loosen these screws because I didn't notice that the part of the reservoir that goes in with the gasket inside had popped out. So just make sure that that's in there when you get these, you know, start getting those threaded in, that you make sure it's still in there, and it'll flush up perfectly. So, all right, now I'm just going to get this pulley on and get this belt and some fluids going. We'll be out of here. Okay, here's an update. Just got the pulley back on with the pulley kit. Got it up there nice and flush. Just keep cranking it till it's, won't let you crank it anymore, basically, and you'll know. It just won't go anymore. You'll have it up there. So, it's good to go there. I got my sensor plugged back in, the top there. Plug that in. And I'm going to leave this out of the way until I get the belt on. So this is going to be the fun part. Going to have to make sure the belt didn't move too much. Doesn't look like it did. But I got to get the... I think that's the AC compressor down there, or I don't know. Anyways, I got to get the belt over that down there and pull the belt up so there's some slack in it, and make sure everywhere else looks good, and then reach my arm back here and give it some slack so I can pull it over this. And this is the least. This is the most difficult part when you're doing this solo, especially if you did it the lazy way like I did over there. You're going to be a little frustrated, so just be ready for that. I'm going to hold this belt, and at least if I can get most of it on here, I can, take a breather if I need it or whatever. And hopefully I'll get it one good strong crank and get that belt to slide over there. Because when you use that little 13 down there, there's not a lot of room and all that. You don't get a lot of leverage and stuff, so you got to be ready for it, because if one little thing starts to hold you up, I mean, it's on you. How long you're going to hold that. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and do that, get the belt on, and put this harness back, get some fluid going in here. Okay, just got the belt here. It's a little frustrating. So I took my left glove off, and kept my right glove on, stuck my hand back here, and pulled the 13 there as hard as I could. And I got some slack, and I got the belt mostly on except for one little lip up here. And then my arm got tired, so I let it rest for a minute there. And then I did it again, and I took this here, and with my arm back there pulling on that, I just kind of shoved this under there and kind of helped, get the belt to go all the rest of the way on there, because you don't want to stick your finger in here and then your arm get tired and then you pinch your finger or something. So just something I did here, got it on relatively easy. And now I'm going to put some fluid in here, and I'm going to do some basically like some little false starts, because what you want to do after you get the belt on is obviously you want to check to make sure that everything looks good, make sure everything looks straight. And when you're pretty sure everything looks straight, you're going to do like little bumps, like kind of like you're going to start your car, but you don't. You get it, you bump it just enough to where these will spin a little bit. And you want to do that about 2 or 3 times, give it a couple bumps, so that if there is any things that are kind of halfway on or off, it should help them seed. And then make sure your fluid's in there and give it a crank and let it run. So let's do that. Okay, so here's what I meant by little bumps. I'm going to give it kind of a little, and I'm not going to let it start. And give it another one. Like that. But it wants to go, so I guess it's going to start. But anyways, if you're a little more careful, you can get it to just do bumps. So now I got the new pump here. See, I over-poured on the fluid there, but it's alright. Another thing, if you're doing this and you don't really have a pan or anything, or you're just in a hurry and you're just trying to do whatever, something I did before I'm going to clean the garage is I just threw some bags under here, help catch all that stuff and, get rid of it. But now that it's all cleaned up, it's not a big deal. I'm going to just take the car outside and spray down the engine bay. You can do that. You just need to watch out for your fuse box, your battery, and your alternator, which mine is back there. But just about anything under here you can spray. Also, try not to get your intake too much. I mean, it's sealed off, but just in case. But you can spray your motor. That's no problem. You will notice some squealing from the belt, if it's still drying off or whatever, but it'll stop. So you can do stuff like that. Letting the car run here, get the pump going, getting the fluids in there. And what you can do is you can just sit in your car and you can turn the steering wheel left and right, and that'll activate the power steering pump to help you turn the wheels, and that'll get things moving faster. So that's that. That's kind of just how you do it. So hopefully this kind of helps some people out, and have a good one. Okay, focus. I just rinsed off the motor here. Gonna air up my tires, take it for a spin, but the problem is fixed. It's no more, doesn't sound like it's screaming in pain anymore, and cleaned it up pretty good, so we're good to go. Be sure to keep your old core for a return and get you some money back, and have a good one.